deep and silent thinking. One of the most subtle signs of intelligence is the ability to think deeply and silently. Many people equate intelligence with speaking loudly, standing out in debates, or constantly defending one's own opinions. However, true intelligence often operates invisibly. In silence, through an unnoticed process, thoughts mature, ideas crystallize. Scientists and great thinkers are prime examples of this. Albert Einstein often developed his ideas in silence, analyzing them deeply to arrive at theories that would change the world. His famous quote, "Imagination is more important than knowledge," clearly demonstrates how productive the mind can be in silence. Einstein is known to have found solutions to problems by thinking alone during long walks or while studying. This proves that silence is a critical space for creativity and problem solving. Thinking in silence activates different regions of the brain. Research shows that during inner monologue and deep reflection, the prefrontal cortex, areas associated with logic and analysis, is intensely active. This allows a person to understand a subject from a multidimensional perspective, rather than merely evaluating it superficially. Silence enhances the capacity to process information more deeply by eliminating distractions. Furthermore, silent reflection nourishes not only individual intelligence, but also emotional intelligence. Deep reflection allows a person to turn inward and observe their behavior, reactions, and emotions. This kind of awareness enables healthier and more strategic decision-making, both in problem-solving and in social relationships. The renowned psychologist Carl Jung also viewed deep inner reflection as a kind of exploration of the subconscious. According to Jung, moments of silence create the necessary space for an individual to understand the patterns and shadows of their subconscious. Therefore, quiet time spent alone functions like a laboratory that nourishes creativity and intuition. Modern science also confirms this. A neuroscience study has revealed that individuals who practice meditation and deep thinking experience strengthen synaptic connections and increased problem-solving capacity in their brains. Silence leads not only to mental clarity, but also to a genuine strengthening of brain structure. Another advantage of silent thinking is that it enhances the ability to find long-term solutions to complex problems. Quick decisions and superficial thinking often produce instant solutions. However, deep thinking allows for a holistic assessment of possible outcomes, risks, and opportunities. Miyamoto Musashi, one of history's greatest strategists, wrote and analyzed his lessons on war and life by spending long periods alone. This demonstrates that deep and silent thinking is essential for both intellectual and practical intelligence. Finally, silent thinking creates a space that triggers creativity. Silence cleanses the mind of external stimuli and allows subconscious connections to surface. Steve Jobs' creative processes are an example of this. Jobs would take long walks to find inspiration and solve problems, freeing his mind in nature or quiet environments. Unexpected ideas and innovative solutions emerged during this process. In short, deep and quiet thinking is a sign of an invisible but powerful intelligence. Silence is not just silence. It is a laboratory for the mind to discover its own potential. In these calm environments, inner awareness, analytical thinking, creativity, and intuition flourish. Therefore, true intelligence often emerges quietly and profoundly within oneself, away from noise and distractions. Chapter 2: The Limitless Nature of Curiosity. Another clear sign of intelligence is the limitless nature of curiosity. This isn't limited to simply asking questions or accumulating knowledge. True curiosity involves thinking outside the box, venturing into the unknown, and making extraordinary connections between different disciplines. This trait is often observable in the daily lives of geniuses or great scientists. Leonardo da Vinci offers one of the most concrete examples of curiosity. Beyond being a painter and sculptor, he explored a wide range of subjects, from anatomy and hydrodynamics to engineering and theories of flight. Da Vinci's notebooks show clues to generating innovative ideas by combining seemingly unrelated observations rather than focusing on a single subject. For example, while studying the structure of bird wings, the idea of designing flying machines came to him. This demonstrates how powerful the ability to build creative bridges between different fields is when curiosity knows no bounds. Curiosity isn't limited to making great discoveries. It also fosters mental flexibility and openness to learning. Neuroscience research shows that individuals who are constantly curious have a more active dopamine system in their brains, and this activity increases motivation to learn. Dopamine is known as the brain's reward and discovery center. When a curious person encounters new information or deals with an unusual problem, this system becomes active, and the learning process takes place more effectively. Unbounded curiosity is sometimes associated with the courage to take risks and pursue unconventional ways of thinking. The genius Marie Curie, who dared to explore many unknowns and push the boundaries of the scientific field while working on radioactivity, not only focused on laboratory experiments, but also allowed herself to explore the relationships between chemistry and physics. Curie's life reveals a direct link between boundless curiosity and great achievements. Studies in the field of psychology show that curious individuals are more successful in problem solving and creativity. A study conducted at Stanford University observed that curious individuals adapt more quickly to new information, can evaluate complex problems from different perspectives, and can generate innovative solutions without getting stuck on traditional solutions. This shows that curiosity not only gathers information, but also directly influences how intelligence processes that information. Curiosity also deepens a person's interaction with their environment. Great thinkers constantly question their surroundings and the events they encounter. This questioning process not only improves their own knowledge, but also allows them to establish more meaningful and deeper connections with their environment. Nobel laureate physicist Richard Feynman frequently emphasized the power of curiosity. Even in daily life, Feynman observed simple events and tried different ways to question and explain them. This approach shows that curiosity serves not only scientific achievement, but also gaining understanding and depth in every area of life. As a learning mechanism, curiosity is not limited to exploring the known. It also involves confronting the unknown and going beyond the usual. Geniuses, thanks to curiosity, look beyond possibilities, see connections, and notice details that ordinary people overlook. This process increases the flexibility of the mind and improves its capacity to generate new solutions. In today's age of technology and information, it is especially important that curiosity knows no bounds. Scientists, engineers, and creative professionals bring together knowledge from different disciplines to produce innovative solutions. Elon Musk is a modern example of this curiosity. He has forged new paths by combining different disciplines in many fields, from space technology to energy storage solutions, from artificial intelligence to transportation systems. Musk's success shows that curiosity is not just about asking questions, but also about the ability to make unusual connections through those questions and put them into practice. In short, the boundless nature of curiosity is a sign of an invisible but effective intelligence. This curiosity manifests itself in the ability to constantly learn, make new connections, and go beyond the ordinary. Curious individuals experience life not just as passive observers, but as active participants. Every new question, every new connection allows intelligence to grow and transcend boundaries. Chapter 3: Emotional Intelligence and Empathy. Another clear sign that intelligence cannot be measured solely by analytical thinking or accumulated knowledge is emotional intelligence and the ability to empathize. This trait is often invisible because people usually associate intelligence only with academic achievement or the capacity for logical problem solving. However, high emotional intelligence manifests itself in an individual's ability to perceive the emotional states of those around them, recognize social cues, and use this information appropriately. When Daniel Goleman introduced the concept of emotional intelligence, he emphasized that intelligence has a dimension that cannot be measured solely by IQ. According to Goleman, people who can recognize and manage their own emotions and understand the emotions of others are far more effective in both their personal and professional lives. This provides a powerful advantage not only in friendships, but also in leadership and the business world. For example, Steve Jobs' success at Apple was based more on his ability to motivate people, understand them, and unlock their creative potential than on his technical knowledge. Jobs had an extraordinary ability to sense the motivations and moods of his employees, and he used this ability as a strategic tool to develop innovative products. Empathy is not only the ability to understand the feelings of others, but also the ability to form an emotional connection with them. Research shows that individuals with high empathy skills are more successful in social relationships and more effective in conflict resolution. A neurological study conducted at Cambridge University revealed that a brain region known as the mirror neuron system is activated when trying to understand the feelings of others. This system allows an individual to match their own experiences with those of others, thus enabling empathy. Therefore, high emotional intelligence is not only a mental process, but also supported by a physiological mechanism. While it is not possible to directly measure emotional intelligence and empathy, Albert Einstein stands out for his subtlety in understanding people and evaluating their perspectives. In addition to his scientific achievements, Einstein was able to effectively communicate with people from different cultures and life experiences, conveying his ideas to a wider audience. His example demonstrates that emotional intelligence acts as a bridge, connecting abstract thinking with concrete communication and collaboration. Empathy is also a critical tool for leadership and innovation. Indra Nooyi, former CEO of PepsiCo, has always based her leadership style on understanding the emotional states of her employees and considering their needs. Her experience demonstrates how employee engagement and organizational success can be increased through empathy. Here, emotional intelligence is not just emotional awareness, but also the ability to use that awareness strategically. Furthermore, emotional intelligence manifests itself more prominently during times of crisis and uncertainty. According to psychologists' observations, leaders with high empathy can motivate their teams, resolve conflicts, and maintain morale even in challenging circumstances. This reveals that intelligence is not limited to logical analysis, but also plays a critical role in human relationships and social contexts. Emotional intelligence, empathy, and social awareness also fuel creativity. An artist, writer, or scientist can add deeper meaning and emotion to their own work when they can understand the experiences and feelings of others. Virginia Woolf, in her works, meticulously examined the inner worlds and emotional processes of her characters, offering readers a powerful experience of empathy. Woolf's success stemmed from her ability to integrate the perspectives of others into her own creativity, thanks to her high emotional intelligence and empathy. In short, emotional intelligence and empathy are powerful indicators of invisible but high intelligence. This ability involves understanding people, recognizing social cues, and forming deep connections with others. Individuals with high emotional intelligence can act effectively and harmoniously, not only in their own lives, but also in their environments. Thus, they use their intelligence more meaningfully at both individual and societal levels. Chapter 4: Planning and Strategy. One of the most impressive, yet often overlooked, indicators of intelligence is the ability to create conscious and detailed plans by analyzing events and their consequences in advance. This skill isn't just about drawing a step-by-step roadmap to achieve a goal. It also includes the capacity to anticipate potential risks, utilize resources most efficiently, and prepare for unexpected situations. Throughout history, individuals with strong strategic thinking abilities have had a significant impact not only on their own lives, but also on the systems and societies around them. Take Isaac Newton, for example. Newton's scientific success stemmed not only from his genius, but also from his ability to plan ahead and create strategies. Newton didn't conduct his experiments randomly. He designed each one in a specific order and with logic. Before testing a hypothesis, he evaluated all possible outcomes, optimized experimental setups, and prepared to minimize potential deviations. This methodical and strategic approach made his revolutionary discoveries in physics and mathematics possible. Planning and strategy are not limited to the field of science. Their impact is enormous in the business world as well. Warren Buffett doesn't base his investment decisions solely on intuition or immediate data. He analyzes markets, calculates potential risks and returns in advance, and meticulously plans strategies he will implement over the years. His strategic approach is based on not leaving financial success to chance. Buffett shapes his investments by thinking long-term and evaluating possible scenarios in advance. This shows that the ability to plan ahead is not just a mental process, but a skill that produces tangible results. Planning and strategy are also silent indicators of intelligence in times of crisis. Consider the emergency scenarios faced by a pilot or astronaut. Every action is planned in advance, taking into account the possible consequences. NASA's Apollo 13 mission strikingly demonstrates the importance of this kind of strategic planning. An unexpected explosion during the mission was successfully managed thanks to crisis plans created in advance by the crew and ground control, and the astronauts returned safely to Earth. This example shows that planning and strategy are not just logical thinking, but a form of intelligence that directly saves lives. However, the ability to plan ahead and create strategies manifests itself not only in large projects, but also in the complexities of daily life. Marie Curie's laboratory routines were meticulously planned to optimize time and resources between experiments. Every step of the chemicals and procedures she used in her experiments was pre-designed to minimize potential errors and make results predictable. This approach not only enhanced her scientific achievements, but also created a safe environment for her work. Strategic thinking and planning ahead are directly linked to enhanced brain function. The prefrontal cortex is particularly associated with the ability to plan, problem solve, and evaluate possible scenarios. Scientists have observed that when this region is active, individuals' capacity not only to predict the future, but also to create alternative plans and calculate risks increases. Therefore, the ability to plan reveals that it is not only related to logical reasoning, but also that the brain operates through a structured process for strategic thinking. Furthermore, the ability to plan ahead and strategize is closely related to intuitive intelligence. Chess masters mentally simulate all possible scenarios before making their moves and evaluate their opponent's potential strategies. Great chess players like Magnus Carlsen don't just move the pieces. It considers all possible combinations on the board and develops strategic moves accordingly. This shows that planning and strategy are not just logical calculations, but a truly powerful display of intelligence when combined with intuitive perception and analysis. In short, planning and strategy are hallmarks of a quiet and profound intelligence. This skill is necessary not only for achieving successful results, but also for navigating confidently through uncertainty and chaos. Examples ranging from Newton's meticulous plans in his laboratory to the Apollo 13 crew's crisis management, from Buffett's investment strategies to Carlsen's chess moves, demonstrate that this ability is not merely theoretical, but directly connected to practice in life. True intelligence manifests itself in the ability to foresee probabilities, calculate potential risks, and formulate conscious strategies. And those who can do this quietly and invisibly exist as an unnoticed but highly effective force in the world. Chapter 5. Focus and Attention Control. Perhaps one of the most invisible yet most effective indicators of intelligence is the ability to focus deeply without distraction. This ability manifests itself especially in complex and multifaceted situations, making it possible to grasp details that an ordinary person might overlook. Focus doesn't just mean paying attention to a task for a long time. It also includes the ability to direct mental energy to the most critical points, to be unaffected by unnecessary stimuli, and to consciously manage the flow of thought. This creates a thematic parallel between a music composer designing a complex symphony in his head and a surgeon working with complete attention during a critical operation. For example, if we look at Albert Einstein's working method, intense focus lies behind his ability to develop brilliant theories. When working on problems in classical physics, Einstein would filter out almost all stimuli around him, focusing only on the details relevant to the problem. This deep attention allowed him to simulate in his mind the complex connections between classical physics and his own theory of relativity. Einstein's experiments demonstrated that deep focus is necessary for complex problem solving and the emergence of innovative ideas. Because this process allows the mind to move beyond superficial thoughts, organize subconscious information, and forge new connections. Focus is also of great importance in modern neuroscience. The prefrontal cortex and anterior cingulate cortex are the primary brain regions that control attention, and these areas become active during task-oriented attention. Scientists have observed that meditation and mindfulness practices strengthen these regions, enabling individuals to maintain their attention for longer periods and develop resistance to external or internal distractions. For example, research has shown that individuals who practice Zen meditation achieve higher success in complex problem-solving tasks and are able to direct their attention more efficiently. This demonstrates that the ability to focus is critical not only for mental performance, but also for quality of life and decision-making processes. Focus and attention control affect not only mental activities, but also physical performance. Professional athletes use deep focus when performing complex movements or anticipating opponent moves. Tiger Woods' success in golf stems not only from his technique, but also from his ability to meticulously analyze the numbers and environmental conditions in his mind with each stroke. Attention control relies on consciously filtering environmental stimuli and focusing only on necessary information. This demonstrates how deep focus translates into superior performance in practical life. Focus also plays a crucial role in creative processes. When Pablo Picasso painted, he would immerse himself in his inner world for extended periods, unaware of the distractions around him. This deep concentration allowed him to create new connections and extraordinary perspectives in the creative process. Focus acts as a filter for the brain. It processes only the necessary information and neutralizes the rest of the noise. Thus, complex and creative thoughts can take shape without being affected by superficial distractions. Today, due to the abundance of technological and social stimuli, the ability to focus has become increasingly valuable. Social media notifications, emails, and instant messaging constantly distract attention, weakening the brain's capacity for deep thinking. Therefore, highly intelligent individuals consciously manage their attention and strategically direct their time and energy to areas where they can focus. Modern entrepreneurs like Tim Ferriss maximize their productivity by creating focus blocks and dedicating specific hours of the day to uninterrupted work. This is not just time management, but also a practical example of conscious attention control. Ultimately, focus and attention control are silent but profound indicators of intelligence. They emerge in complex situations and are indispensable for problem solving, creativity, and high performance. The development of Einstein's theories, Tiger Woods' golf success, Picasso's creative genius, and the strategic focus methods of modern entrepreneurs demonstrate how effective and invisible this ability is in every aspect of life. Focus is one of the most advanced tools of intelligence, because it not only processes information, but also consciously directs attention, transforming potential into tangible success. Chapter 6: Internal Self-Criticism and the Ability to Learn. Highly intelligent individuals measure their success not only by the results they achieve, but also by their capacity to recognize their mistakes and learn from them. Internal self-criticism is a process that many people find uncomfortable because making mistakes often reveals our shortcomings and limitations. However, in this type of intelligence, making mistakes is not a catastrophe, but an inevitable step towards learning and improvement. The example of Leonardo da Vinci is historical evidence of this approach. The Renaissance genius constantly criticized himself in every drawing, mechanical design, and anatomical study he made, analyzing his mistakes and trying to improve them in his next attempt. His notebooks are filled not only with creativity and inventions, but also with notes meticulously evaluating his own weaknesses and shortcomings. Scientists go through a similar process. Thomas Edison's numerous failures in inventing the electric light bulb were possible because he interpreted his failures as experimental data rather than seeing them as catastrophes. Edison interpreted each of his failed ventures as, "I haven't failed. I've found 1,000 ways that don't work." And this perspective ultimately led him to success. The internal self-criticism here isn't passive regret or guilt. It's a conscious analysis, a mechanism for learning from experience, and a way to build a stronger foundation for the next step. Modern psychology shows that internal self-criticism and the ability to learn strengthen mental flexibility and enable individuals to find more creative solutions to complex problems. Neuroscience research reveals that individuals with the capacity for self-criticism and the ability to learn from mistakes are more active in the prefrontal cortex and anterior cingulate cortex regions. These areas are directly related to planning, problem-solving, and self-awareness. Self-criticism constantly forces the brain to develop new strategies. It breaks old behavioral patterns and creates more effective ways of thinking. Internal self-criticism is also closely related to emotional intelligence. The ability to critique others is primarily balanced by the capacity for self-understanding and recognizing one's own flaws. Carl Jung's work provides strong evidence that recognizing and accepting one's own shadow aspects paves the way for psychological integrity. The ability to self-criticize matures a person not only cognitively, but also emotionally, as this process teaches them to view mistakes not as shame, but as learning opportunities. In daily life, internal self-criticism manifests itself in everything from routine decisions and minor mistakes to major successes. After a failed product launch, an entrepreneur, instead of focusing solely on the loss, analyzes which decisions went wrong, carefully examines market data, and develops a strategy for the next step. This kind of approach teaches a person to transform mistakes into knowledge rather than avoidance. Bill Gates' analysis of failed projects during his Microsoft days, the lessons he learned, and the strategies he shaped accordingly, are a practical example of internal self-criticism in the modern world. At the same time, internal self-criticism makes learning continuous. Highly intelligent individuals do not see themselves as perfect or flawless. Rather, they value every new experience, every new mistake, as valuable data to be added to their own development process. This approach fosters a culture of lifelong learning and continuous personal development. Research in the field of education shows that students with strong self-criticism are more successful not only academically, but also in social and creative areas. Because these individuals can acknowledge their mistakes, learn from them, and develop new strategies and solutions. In conclusion, internal self-criticism and the ability to learn are highly effective indicators of invisible but superior intelligence. Instead of viewing mistakes as a catastrophe, understanding, analyzing, and learning from them supports both mental and emotional development. From Leonardo da Vinci's notebooks to Edison's light bulb experiments, from Carl Jung's psychological studies to the strategic analyses of modern entrepreneurs, this habit has been a fundamental component of intelligence in every era. Internal self-criticism teaches not only how to avoid mistakes, but also how to turn them into opportunities, continuously raising the individual to a higher level of awareness and competence. Chapter 7: Generating Unconventional and Creative Solutions. Another defining characteristic of high intelligence is the ability to develop unconventional and advanced solutions to the problems they encounter. This goes beyond simple academic or theoretical intelligence. It's about understanding the flaws in truly complex parts. The human brain generally reacts according to previous experiences and learned patterns. However, creative intelligence can expand upon existing patterns and develop new perspectives that can sustain them. Albert Einstein's famous quote, "Imagination is more important than knowledge," reflects the essence of this understanding. Einstein solved complex problems of physical reality not only with existing knowledge, but also with abstract scenarios and thought experiments he constructed in his mind. The development of the theory of relativity was the result of a different perspective and creative imagination rather than ordinary logical reasoning. Creative problem solving often requires the courage to question existing problems. Sometimes this requires scientists or alternatives to abandon traditional methods and explore paths no one has tried before. Nikola Tesla is one of the most important examples of this approach. Instead of settling for simple technical drawings and examples in electrical engineering, Tesla used his imagination to design an entirely new energy source system and revolutionized alternating current. Tesla's work relied not only on technical specifications, but also on the ability to physically apply abstract thought. Psychological research shows that creative intelligence is often supported by interdisciplinary thinking. The ability to combine knowledge and experience from different fields allows individuals to develop their own personal solutions. For example, engineering solutions inspired by biology or technologies inspired by nature are frequently seen in a field known as bionic design. Such creative approaches not only solve problems, but also pave the way for the emergence of new industries and innovative solutions. In everyday life, the ability to generate creative solutions can manifest itself even in the face of a simple problem. For example, an entrepreneur's reactions to sudden changes in market conditions can lead them to develop strategies to maintain stability when standard changes are insufficient. Analyzing customer behavior and generating solutions with expected results and practical marketing techniques. Steve Jobs' approach at Apple is a modern example of creative problem solving. Jobs transformed ordinary products into extraordinary experiences by combining technology and visibility. His vision was based on unconventional thinking and the ability to expand into different areas. Neuroscientific research supports the mental processes of creative problem solving. The brain actively uses both the left and right hemispheres during creative thinking. The left hemisphere governs analytical thinking, while the right hemisphere enables abstract and imaginative thinking. This coordination allows individuals to generate and develop advanced solutions. Furthermore, the involvement of the prefrontal cortex helps individuals quickly evaluate different possibilities and generate extraordinary solutions. Highly intelligent individuals minimize the fear of failure when generating creative solutions. For them, mistakes are simply learning opportunities, and repeated attempts are a necessary step toward the completion of development. Thomas Edison's numerous failures in inventing the electric light bulb illustrate the inevitable nature of the creative problem-solving process. Each failure was an opportunity to test a new approach and get one step closer to ultimate success. In conclusion, the ability to generate diverse and creative solutions is a visible yet powerful distinguishing characteristic of superior intelligence. This ability manifests itself not only in academic achievement, but also in the ability to cope with complex and unpredictable situations. From Einstein to Tesla, from Jobs to modern entrepreneurs, these individuals not only possess the knowledge to solve problems by thinking outside the box, but also change the world in ways previously unimaginable. Individuals with superior intelligence leave their mark in every aspect of life with creative and problem-solving approaches instead of traditional methods. Chapter 8: A flexible, unstable mental structure. Another defining characteristic of high intelligence is an individual's ability to avoid mental rigidity, to change their ideas with new information and experiences. This flexibility isn't just about accumulated knowledge. It also refers to a person's ability to constantly update their perception of the world, their problem-solving approach, and their decision-making processes. Neuroscience research shows that mental flexibility is strongly associated with the adaptive capacity of the prefrontal cortex. This region supports the ability to quickly evaluate different thought patterns, compare multiple possible solutions, and modify old thought patterns when necessary. To give an example from history, Charles Darwin, while developing his theory of evolution, had the courage to question existing scientific paradigms and update his ideas with new evidence. Darwin's work stemmed from his refusal to settle for fixed information, instead constantly reshaping his hypotheses by observing the diversity in nature. His mental flexibility allowed him to challenge the traditional understanding of the scientific world and create a new biological framework. This example demonstrates that mental flexibility is not only an individual ability, but also a cornerstone of scientific and societal progress. A flexible mindset also allows individuals to learn from their mistakes and failures. Research at Stanford University shows that individuals with mental flexibility view mistakes, feedback, and new information as opportunities for personal growth. In contrast, individuals with a rigid mindset struggle to accept their mistakes and broaden their perspectives. Albert Einstein, while testing his theories and facing criticism, demonstrated the flexibility to refine his ideas by considering criticism and new data rather than adhering to a fixed mindset. This further emphasizes the importance of mental flexibility in creativity and problem-solving processes. In daily life, mental flexibility also makes it easier for individuals to cope with complex and unpredictable situations. In the business world, changing market conditions, technological advancements, and unexpected crises pose significant stressors for individuals with a rigid mindset. While those with flexible thinking can quickly adapt, develop alternative strategies, and generate innovative solutions. For example, Steve Jobs' approach at Apple relied on the ability to flexibly update strategies and product designs as technology trends changed and consumer expectations evolved. This flexibility contributed to the success of both the company and Jobs' individual creative vision. From a neuroscientific perspective, developing mental flexibility is directly related to continuous learning processes that strengthen brain connections and promote neuroplasticity. The ability to integrate new information with old ideas requires the coordinated work of different brain regions. This process improves an individual's problem-solving and decision-making abilities. Research also shows that mentally flexible individuals are more successful in coping with stress, managing emotional responses, and adapting in social relationships. In conclusion, possessing a flexible and unstable mental structure is an invisible but powerful indicator of superior intelligence. This trait allows an individual to remain innovative and adaptable in both scientific and daily life experiences, enabling them to explore new paths without being trapped in old patterns. From Darwin to Einstein, from Jobs to modern entrepreneurs, those with flexible minds have transformed every situation into an opportunity for learning and growth, continuously improving both their individual achievements and their perception of the world. Mental flexibility is not just about storing information, but about transforming and applying it. This is one of the most important and valuable indicators of superior intelligence. Chapter 9: Observation and Attention to Detail. Another crucial characteristic of superior intelligence is observational power and attention to detail. Most people have a limited ability to notice subtle cues that might be overlooked in the fast-paced flow of daily life. However, highly intelligent individuals perceive what is happening around them, not just superficially, but deeply and in detail. This awareness enables them to perform exceptionally well in both social and professional settings. Neuroscientific studies show that this ability stems primarily from the coordinated work of the prefrontal cortex and parietal lobes, allowing individuals to quickly process and interpret both visual and social signals. Throughout history, this ability has played a critical role in the work of many scientists and geniuses. For example, Leonardo da Vinci, thanks to his observational skills, pioneered both art and science by meticulously studying human anatomy, forms in nature, and the workings of machines. The drawings in Da Vinci's notebooks were not merely copies of what was visible. The subtle details he extracted from his observations allowed him to understand mechanical and biological processes. His attention to detail allowed him to understand the workings of complex systems in ways no one had noticed before. Observational skills are an integral part of high intelligence in a social context, The ability to notice human behavior, facial expressions, body language, and tone of voice, combined with empathy and emotional intelligence, helps individuals decipher complex dynamics in relationships. For example, psychologist Carl Rogers is renowned for his ability to deduce his clients' emotional states and needs from small details, going beyond their verbal expressions. This awareness forms the basis of effective communication, building trust, and developing appropriate solutions to problems. Furthermore, attention to detail plays a critical role in problem-solving and creative thinking processes. A small detail overlooked by an engineer in a design can lead to a major error. However, an individual with high intelligence can reduce the risk of error and develop innovative solutions by examining all parts of the system and their potential interactions. For example, Nikola Tesla successfully demonstrated the feasibility of alternating current technology by meticulously analyzing small technical details in electrical systems. Tesla's success is a direct result of his observational skills and attention to detail. Observational skills are not limited to the physical environment. They also involve an integrated analysis of information and experiences. A thinker, comparing information from different sources, can identify contradictions and patterns and forge new connections. This process strengthens the creative and analytical dimensions of intelligence. Neuropsychological research shows that such attention and observation skills make neural networks in the brain more flexible and interconnected, enhancing an individual's ability to learn quickly and solve complex problems. In conclusion, observation and attention to detail are invisible yet powerful indicators of superior intelligence. This ability enables individuals to be more effective in both social and professional fields, prevents errors, helps them identify opportunities and risks in a timely manner, and allows them to develop innovative solutions. Many examples, from Leonardo da Vinci to Tesla, from Rogers to modern scientists, prove that the power of observation and attention to detail is directly related to superior intelligence. Developing observational skills is a fundamental tool not only for being aware of the environment, but also for drawing deeper and more meaningful conclusions from experiences. Chapter 10: Quiet Influence and Charisma. One of the most interesting and often overlooked characteristics of highly intelligent individuals is their possession of a quiet influence and natural charisma. This doesn't mean speaking loudly or impressing those around them with attention-grabbing behavior. Rather, intelligence manifests itself in the capacity to subtly influence the thoughts and actions of those around them. Charisma isn't simply about physical attractiveness or social popularity. It's about creating a quiet but powerful impact by combining intellectual depth, keen observational skills, and empathy. This impact is directly related to understanding the nuances of human psychology and social dynamics. Social psychology research shows that charisma is largely conveyed through unconscious signals and subtle behavioral details. Body language, tone of voice, eye contact, and even word choice leave a powerful impression on those around you, even if it's not immediately apparent in interactions. For example, Albert Einstein, despite not being very socially active in his time, created a quiet but effective influence on the scientists around him through his profound knowledge and calm demeanor. Einstein's charisma stemmed not from loud pronouncements, but from his ability to influence people with quiet self-confidence and assured knowledge. This quiet influence is also evident in the context of leadership. Great visionaries like Steve Jobs adopted an approach of guiding people to develop their own ideas and do their best, rather than explicitly giving orders. Jobs' quiet demeanor in presentations or meetings created a deep sense of motivation and direction in participants. This type of influence relies not on direct pressure or coercion, but on shaping conscious and unconscious decisions in the environment through observation, empathy, and understanding. Charisma also creates a sense of trust and authority. When a person possesses quiet and profound knowledge, those around them naturally trust their opinions and assessments. This is a very valuable tool in leadership and effective communication. Renowned family therapists like Virginia Satir were able to help people realize their potential and initiate the process of change through the quiet but profound connection they established with their clients. Satir's approach relied on creating influence through presence and quiet awareness, rather than verbal direction. Quiet influence isn't limited to the social sphere. It manifests in professional and academic settings as well. A researcher guiding team members in a laboratory might direct the process without overtly controlling them, instead relying on detailed observation and critical questioning. This is one of the most striking examples of superior intelligence. Influencing through knowledge and understanding creates a more lasting and profound impact than using visible force. Charisma and quiet influence are also linked to personal growth and self-confidence. When a person trusts their own knowledge and abilities, they can be effective without needing external validation. Bruce Lee, with his skill in martial arts and philosophical approach, created deep admiration and respect around him with few words. Lee's calm demeanor and control were powerful tools in influencing the behavior and thoughts of those around him. Consequently, quiet influence and charisma are invisible yet powerful manifestations of superior intelligence. This trait makes it possible to subtly manipulate the environment, making interactions deeper and more meaningful, without needing to loudly assert oneself or draw attention. Quiet influence arises from a combination of knowledge, observation, empathy, and self-confidence, and emerges as one of the most subtle and sophisticated aspects of intelligence. Highly intelligent individuals create a silent change in their environment. People are guided, influenced, and directed towards new ideas without realizing it. This is the most elegant and powerful expression of intelligence.